I don't know. I was just going to push him down there.
Oh, yeah?
They didn't tell us what side they wanted. I mean, does that really matter?
We're energized.
Or just to break it down? They ran rocks. They ran rocks, but yeah.
See you later, I guess.
I know what you mean.
See you tonight?
I have no idea.
See you tonight? Huh?
What turn did you guys want?
Hey, how's it going?
Out turn. Out turn? Okay.
Hanging in there.
What?
Oh,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
little chilly. Might need the pullover too.
Should warm up in here.
Should. I can always take that shit off once you.
I never filled up my water bottle. You
Go do it now. You're fine. You got time. Go do it. We'll start late. It's no big deal.
Draw. In Korea? Oh, I heard what's her name got a big trophy. Nina Roth in Korea, yeah.
Hello.
Nina Roth. I distracted you a little.
Good morning. Welcome to the 18th
Careful there. Looks like a
St.
senior
Paul
slide
Cash
to me.
Spiel. Brought to you by the Lupus Research Foundation.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yep.
I was waiting to hear what you were going to say. I was thinking,
By
Scooterville.
I was brought to you by
What? It's the wobbly one. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Just making sure.
I don't care that much. I mean, I care, but not that much. Where's our throwing room? That I do need.
curlers have taken the ice.
What? Thank you. We're throwing. Hey, we chose yellow, right? Is that are those our rocks? Those are yours. Somehow I thought my team was buying and you were ahead of things. All right, cool. Oh, you got some pants? Yeah, Bob Hedstrom. Help me out.
That's fine. I think so. All of them are brand new.
Oh, shit, I better move this. That's right, I forgot about the good old St. Paul backstop here.
It's on.
Okay. All right, I'm sure.
Thanks.
So, Bob, do we know which colors the various teams are?
We're still trying to determine that. It
You want me to?
appears that Corbett will be playing the yellow rocks, Violette the red rocks, but yeah, it looks like that's the case. They're bringing their rocks down to the far end. The hammer will be determined by a last shot draw.
Yeah, we won and took color, so out turn. Yeah, we won and took color, so my out turn, Aaron. Right, so it's gonna be. I know, right? They didn't tell me when I was a kid. Now I can't switch. All right, try to give you an 80.
Derek Corbett throwing a practice last shot draw. He's a lefty, throwing his out turn. Aaron Carlson, the single sweeper with Evan Jensen in the house.
Pretty close. You're a little inside. I'll give you more.
Yeah, their skip is working on a conference call and apparently have proprietary information. I wanted to get the conference call broadcast. I thought we could get him mic'd up, and he said, well, we could do that, except that we'll be talking about some sensitive things.
Well, Brandon's going to be starting the game not on the ice. He's finishing up a conference call, so Derek Corbett will be taking over the duties of skip.
Thought that'd be a good bit worse than that.
Aaron Carlson and Evan Jensen will each be throwing 3 stones apiece to start the game.
Probably just throw that again, huh?
I'll bring it down just a little.
So Luke's team is a junior team. He was on Stapera's rink last time or last year.
Luke and the two Fenson boys were part of the Stapera team that went to Worlds last year as a junior. Stapera has aged out of juniors, so Luke takes over the realm as skip.
Pretty close. Okay. Well,
And they have
added
Something like a 75, 80.
too hot already.
Ben Richardson. And Ben's throwing second stones.
Line's a little tighter on that one. $13.5. Okay.
So Luke covers about a quarter of the pin
I need that. Take that one back.
Now, if
on a practice shot.
If Belvich would be here, he would know like that. Well, you probably do. 13.5. Does that tell you if it's
13.5 13.5 is timing from hog line to hog line during the course of the draw, and that is it's pretty typical for early game ice. It should pick up into the maybe the mid 14s, or on when the ice gets super fast, it'll get 15 and better. But that's just using the stopwatch to go from hog line to hog line.
Hard, get it in, hard.
Guys are working it hard.
All right, here, boys. Hard, 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 hard.
Derek Corbett through biting the 8-foot with his last shot draw.
Exactly. What did you get on that? Yeah.
45 and 3/4.
So 75, 80. How much do you think it's going to pick up here?
I wonder if they actually got to choose their colors, or their colors were assigned.
I believe there was, I don't know if there's a coin toss to determine who played which rocks, but there was a, I believe that
Sorry, you were right on.
Violette's squad had the
What am I supposed
choice
to write this down with? Blood?
and went with red.
Fuck, man. 45 and 3/4.
Here come Luke Violette's last shot draw. Sweepers staying off of it.
Close, boys. It's cutting. John's rock.
13-3. I think the weight's pretty close.
John's rock.
And Violette will be
It's a good throw, Luke.
holding the hammer, covering a little more than half the button.
Don't feel so bad about only hitting the 8-foot now.
Good curling. Aaron, good curling. Oh, boy. We got to redo that one.
Well, looks like we're about to start. Handshakes to start.
Yeah.
Yep, there will be, looks like all of the last shot draws are being
Where's your brother?
concluded.
Is he
Over
gonna
on
come
sheet
halfway
1,
through,
they're
or-
already underway.
Oh, shit.
That's
You need the pen?
Brundage and Sinnott.
Jesus Christ.
Whew. A lot of blasphemy going on this
Yeah,
sheet.
keep her clean, kids.
Yeah, I know. Fucking weird, right? No, my brother is
Oh, another quarter for the jar.
his boss scheduled it. He thought we were playing it for. He claims that.
All right, boys.
Even though Reagan was pretty clear about it.
Okay, what did I give you? 70, 75?
Started at noon. Should only be at 8.
So exactly.
I just hope that.
13-3. Did you give me more ice? Fair, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's almost at
No,
12.
So
I didn't know if they needed to.
Violet has the hammer.
Violet has the hammer.
Bring my drum.
So, I mean, it started
And,
at like, I mean, it didn't really speed up that much.
Corbett's getting ready to call the
Yeah, that's
First
right.
rock.
The good pad.
Sweep with it and bring it down.
You can't.
You can't.
a little broom malfunction.
Yeah, a little confusion. They're going 3.
Derek Corbett ending up with not all of his curling equipment here this weekend, and
You got it.
I'm honored to say that he is going going to be playing in my curling pants.
Just make sure it's in, Evan. That's all. Line's great.
So the
Line's
first
great.
rocks are thrown,
We're close. Coming
or
down.
rock.
First one coming down.
That was thrown by
Line's great.
Aaron Carlson.
Aaron Carlson
Top 4 is good.
drops it into the house, just behind the tee line in the 8 foot.
Good throw, Aaron. Real nice.
Quite a bit of swing on the ice here.
Firm.
That rock seemed to have about 6 or more feet of curl.
So Violette's going to just call for the takeout.
Yeah, he's just playing straight hit.
Nice, safe,
Three.
safe
Whoa.
start.
Whoa. Clean. Yep. Clean. Yep. 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 Yep.
Contrary to the program, that's Graham Fenson playing lead rocks for Violette. Program lists Riley Fenson at lead. Looks like there's a good chance that
They're playing
this
fast,
end may just be exchanging hits.
Sweep.
Yep.
Sweep. Well, you can roll it in the middle or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're just going to hit it. Good throw, Aaron. Really nice. 8-3. Heavy.
Or are they?
No, they're going.
What'd you say?
Violette's putting the corner up.
Yeah. About a 13-5.
Playing a 5 rock here, so couple free rocks to come before we can start peeling rocks out in front of the house.
Line's good. I think we're there. Nice 3. Tight. Okay. Line's okay. Line's good. Right to my stick, boys. Rise rock. Curling plenty. Yep.
Graham Fenson throwing lead rocks
Yep.
is the youngest son
Yep.
of
Good
Pete
D.
Fenson. Pete
Good throw.
not involved in competitive curling
Yep.
this year, while Riley Fenson is son of Pete's brother Eric.
One, right? It's a little tight, got it right back out and threw it hard. So that was a 14.
Not in, Evan. Just a 3.
No.
I'm going to try
Line's
to
good.
fix their names in Score Screamer here, because it'll confuse
Over
me.
curling.
throughout
Whoa,
hand
turn,
up.
switch. Push. Fuck.
Oh, it's
Oh, something.
handle.
Oh, I'm on the.
It lost handle or
Ah.
perhaps picked, but that rock was looking to come to the center line nicely and
Go.
change handle right at the end and is stacked up on top of Red's corner guard.
Be nice with it.
Brandon is standing behind us watching while he's on his conference call, which I think is entertaining.
Easy. Whoa.
So Ben
Whoa.
Richardson,
Ben
throws his
Richardson
first
throwing second rocks, and they're playing a hit on the yellow rock that's on the tee line.
Yep.
Straight hit. Looks like Corbett will try to
Yeah, 9-2. Yeah.
exchange hits on that as long as possible.
Yeah, I should have rolled that little one. I tried to.
So why do you think that Violet went for a hit and then wanted to throw up a guard?
Can't score 2 without a guard. You really want to start out with something out front
Aaron.
when you can.
Sweep.
And once
Sweep.
that
Sweep. Whoa. Sweep. Yeah, that was it. It's good. Sweep. Yep.
he's still going to have the the center of the ice is available to him.
7-8.
There's
Okay.
a lot less
Finish
concern
shots,
about that rock at this stage of the end. Now they've got a chance to play a bigger hit and roll and
7-8.
get in underneath cover.
7.
So I think the strategy is very sound.
13. Wait.
What did he say? A little up. Okay. He didn't call firm, did he?
Yeah. Clean. Nice 2. Clean. Easier than the last. Close. Yep. Clean. Whoa.
Waits a
Whoa.
little down. He's going to
There
have
you
to
go.
get
Go,
a
go,
pretty
go.
thin piece to get the roll he's looking for. He just rolls about a foot to to the front of the 4, just off center line.
9-5. No, I mean, can't complain about that.
I was talking to the teams before the game and learned that Tyler George is the coach of the Violette squad. Tyler not here this weekend because he is at a USCA event curling in Hawaii.
Close.
Tough gig there.
Yeah.
Sweep. Hard, go. Gotta go.
Oh, it's starting to move.
Gotta go.
And they're getting a nice roll out of that hit by Evan Jensen. Just about right. They leave something that
just got to be a little better than
that
full
Violet's squad can
I know. I'll never say go
lay
again.
up
I'm sorry.
against.
It's one of my pet peeves. I don't mind rolling it. I just didn't want to roll out. Yeah, that's all. Okay.
Oh, you know what? So Ben Richardson's watching the game. John Harstead is out there. See?
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that.
Little room.
Your team is all messed up in the whole curling zone thing.
Gonna be John. Okay.
Riley gets a little bit hot on his first draw, and that stayed very straight. He had close to hack weight
What else?
on the attempted draw.
You like
I
under or you like the other
think
side?
this is the shot right here, but
Corbett looks to be splitting the house right now with one relatively safely under cover. He's going to put one out in the open and at least try to force
Okay. You kind of guess I'm throwing a draw yet. I think so. I'll throw a little later.
Forrest Luke this end.
Air up light. Oh, a little outside. All right. Yeah, it's got to be coming down.
Evans rock. Right here, guys. Just on the tee line's perfect. Line's good. Weight's good. Could use some curl.
Whoa.
Could use some curl. I don't want it high. Right on the tee line, guys. Hard. Really nice, boys. Really nice. Good.
I think what I'll do,
Good throw.
instead of trying to fix Score Streamer, I'm just going to hide the player info.
Good. All right. Got a little miss there. That helps.
That way it won't be confusing.
Normal.
Just
Any idea what you threw?
Close to a 4-0.
Really?
I think so.
Pretty quick. That was 14 seconds, Hog.
The one that Aaron's Los Angeles was a 407.
Whoa.
Riley throwing the hit.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Looks like they're just trying to catch it full.
All right. Whatever you got.
So, yeah.
You threw a 9.5 that time. Okay. I've been throwing firm.
Yep.
Wait pretty close.
You want to just nose or a little?
Here? Nose.
Okay.
I don't think rolling makes much sense.
No.
We're going to leave him something. Just like go down with both. I don't know how this works. All right. Okay, and
Yeah, just
normal or
not really split hair white.
going firm? Give me a little more ice, and we'll go normal. A little more. It'll curl. A little more.
But I mean, probably gonna have something here.
Derek Corbett headed down to the hack for delivery of his first stone.
I don't know if it's a good idea to switch, but we're going to do it. Yeah, I like it. It'll curl.
So when Brandon comes back, do you think he'll
Only outside the end of the world.
be
Whipping
skip
is-
again?
I would imagine that's been their that's been the regular lineup for quite a while.
I just wonder if that's like in league. I don't know. Like normally when we have people come in,
Line. Close.
we have them.
Yep.
do league.
Yep. Hard. Yep. Hard.
If you
Clean.
in competitive play, it's from Bonspiel to Bonspiel until you get into
I got split.
tournament play, which then you are required to start your game with
That was up.
4 players unless there is an injury reason. But I'm gathering if things got to the challenge round that the coordination of conference calls will be worked out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. It's like an 80.
It's interesting listening to people down in the main floor, like people are saying, "Oh, I just drove in after class. There's local people, and everybody's like just trying to get here." It's kind of nice having a little later start on the first day, I think.
Derek Corbett successfully made his hit, and now it looks like Violette will try to come underneath and get to shot under the two guards.
Line's good. How's the
Line's
line?
good.
Lots of room at this point.
Hang in a bit.
Just
Line's
one
good. Line's great.
forward. Just top floor. Take a look right here.
Plenty of room past the guards.
Whoa, boys.
Finishing perhaps a little bit deeper than they hoped.
Yep, go, Johnny.
Yeah,
Go,
it's
Johnny.
gotta
Go,
sit.
Johnny. Go. Yeah, leave it. Yeah, good.
No, he's sitting shot
I was trying to at least keep it shot.
with a little bit of exposure.
What do you want? I think edge of the button.
I didn't know how heavy.
Honestly, I'm most worried about hitting us. This is definitely
What are
here.
you going for?
This one.
Yeah, I know.
What weight is the question, right?
Yeah.
I think control,
Yeah.
even normal will work. I have most of the rock.
Derek
I'm just
Corbett
worried
was
over
telling
curling.
me just prior to this he was defending
that.
his
Control? Yeah.
PhD, so he's
hair
working
more,
on
Evan. Yeah.
academic pursuits. He's studying forest and forest biomaterials at
Oh, I don't have much of it at all.
North
It's
Carolina
still there,
State,
though. It's still there, though, right?
curling out of the
It's still there, though, right?
Triangle
Shot?
Curling Club in Durham.
Honestly, I'm not worried about the guard. I'm worried about hitting our yellow in the back.
Yeah, and I think Evan
so-
said that then next week he's flying to Paris.
I'm not sure what it'll do. up
That
the
is
hill,
right. He's coming
but I
right out of
really
here
truly
and
believe it'll curl. All right,
has a
that's
trip
fine.
to Paris ahead of him.
Yeah.
I like Paris.
Yeah. Close. 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 Yep. Yep. Hard, Aaron. Hard. Hard. Hard, Aaron. Go. Hard. Hard. And go. Get him hard.
Aaron Carlson sweeping hard to get it by just
Just
ticked.
ticks it. Yeah.
Just ticked. So Violette has a chance to pick up the deuce
Yeah, we
here.
gotta learn this. Or isn't it?
This going home.
Isn't it here, right? I mean, just give me the same
Right.
ice.
Get a split.
Right here, Luke.
No.
What's interesting is they only have the one sweeper, yet they were yelling his name like, I guess they're just
Even if we got
used
by,
to
right,
the
we got
It was pretty good control.
calling which sweeper
I
it
no
is.
reason to think this is any
Um,
different, right?
No, but you're right. We could've-
Aaron Carlson's no
So, what did I just
It
give
should
you?
have been even this side of the center line. but
Okay.
Maybe it pain.
Yeah, I kind of that release is weird.
no
Gives that, like,
stranger
give it
to
rotation, but not a
curling
whole lot of positive.
Knew it too.
curling three-handed and sweeping by himself. The Corbett team had a player injury last year, I believe. I want to say at the challenge round, and they played three-handed for 6 games. Ended up playing their way through the long bracket, the C bracket, and winning several games in a row three-handed. Aaron Carlson being the horse who
Kinda out there.
did the heavy lifting on the sweeping. He said he's
Well, wait, boys, come on.
never been so exhausted in his life as he was
Go, come on, hard. Go,
after
every-
that
go,
experience.
Go, 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 go,
They're working
go,
the
go,
rock
little more,
hard.
little more, little
It
more.
looks like they've gotten it far enough for the deuce. But now without a lot of work from the sweepers.
Yeah, you just popped it a little more. So. Okay, Walker. You were right on.
Yeah.
So that was
yeah.
interesting
One of
how
these is
they
split, though.
they drew in there to sneak that one point, and then there was the miss,
Right, great sweep, boys. Great judge. Good end, right?
and that turns that end around. It was looking
Yeah, it looked like
Not
they
good.
looked like Corbett had a very good chance at the force, and that little
Tight
tick
center, if you slip in, it's okay.
That was dumb.
playing the
Wash it off. Just need
playing the come around hit was
We can delay the corner if we can.
enough to give Violette a chance and to successfully throw the draw for 2.
Now I couldn't really see from my vantage
Nice
point,
pair, Luke.
but could Violet? Could they have tried to hit
not a good
that
throw.
one that was under cover? Was
Well, it
that
ended with- we got sweepers for
exposed
it.
at all on the outside?
It wasn't going to do them
I had my broom
any
toss.
good because they had the free draw
That was
and
a bad
plenty of
throw.
house to throw to. A hit there is only a shot you'd play under extreme necessity. Having that free open guard and having just
Nice
thrown
and tight,
a
G.
draw with his first shot, I think is logical choice.
Yeah. Yep.
So Graham Fenson is throwing his first rock.
Yep.
Line's good. 2.
With 2-point lead, one would
One and
gather
3.
that they're going
Little
to
room.
potentially come into the rings with the first one
Go, Ben.
rather than
Yep,
throwing
go,
up
Ben.
a center guard, but
Yeah.
looks here like they're going to go for the center.
I was thinking 14
It's pretty early.
Oh, no, no, your judge. Careful.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No clean, no clean.
And
So I don't know if we.
just bites the rings.
Yeah, we can see that in the overhead. I don't know if we introduced. I'm here.
like
I'm
that,
Chris
right?
listening.
Hit
This
and
is
roll?
Bob Hedstrom is
They hit it.
doing the
I need
commentating
hit and roll.
from
Just
Scooterville,
normal.
and you were a sponsor of this event.
We are a sponsor of this event.
And you said that if I can successfully sell a scooter on the air, you'll get me
No, no.
a
Low,
Scooterville
seven.
T-shirt.
Sweep.
Gladly.
Sweep, hard. Hard for a piece. Gotta go.
Might get you a T-shirt without selling
Gotta
a
go,
scooter.
Evan. Gotta go.
Ever.
Okay.
Just caught a little piece of it and just enough to tap it out to the edge of the rings and off of the
My goodness.
Wow.
off the rings.
That's
the,
A little higher.
the slightly narrower
982.
than
You're just a little tight. Okay.
than ideal.
I can give you more ice
sheets
too.
here in St. Paul.
Yeah,
took
it
that
is.
rock out of
So,
play
he's up
where
on his hits in the pad.
most
First time both of you were that
full-sized
way, so it just curled.
curling facilities would have left enough room for that to stay in play on the edge and perhaps be usable for a hit and roll in or something later in the game, or
So-
something to corner freeze against.
Okay.
That
Mine's
rock
good.
was biting
Gonna
the
be
top
John,
of the
though.
12 foot,
On the tight side.
and if they would have hit it and then
Actually
they would have
hanging,
gone
yeah,
into
go,
the
Ryan.
off
Go,
the
Ryan, yep.
rings, would then it be part of the
What's
free
the
guard
line, boys?
rule?
No, as long as
Keep it
it's
going.
biting the rings,
Yep.
it's not a free guard. It has to be
Okay, that's good,
fully
good, good,
outside
good,
of the 12-foot ring.
What I meant though
Sorry,
is
you
that
overcooked
see
her
when
a
they
bit.
hit
Mine's
that
needed
and
the
then it
same.
rolled out, but say it didn't go out, it was just kind of hanging on the
I
side
gotcha.
there.
Yep.
Would that be?
Still a free guard. As long as it's not in the rings, you can't play it on the first 5 rocks.
That's perfect weight. Yeah. Top 8, Evan.
Corbett choosing
ways to curl.
to
Switch.
come underneath the center guard.
Got a ways to curl.
It's got to go.
Line's getting a lot better. Top 8, boys.
All right.
Just top 8.
Looks like they're plenty deep. They're going back into full 4.
Look at that curl.
And it
Slide,
came out the
slide.
backside.
Keeps on moving.
Curled under
Board, I
with
think.
plenty of room and came out the backside,
That one I didn't see. Your first on the last end. you
leaving
kinda
it
did- wait,
almost
you didn't
fully
give it- you
exposed
didn't give it a
for
pop on your- on the last end,
Harsted's.
so it just kind of got straight
hit
and came
here.
right back. This one I didn't watch.
Close. Clean. Clean.
Clean.
Clean.
Clean.
Whoa. Whoa. Right. Whoa. G. Whoa.
Successfully makes the hit straight back. Got a decent piece of the 4-foot, but fully exposed.
Yeah. So just gotta throw the right weight that you can.
Exactly. I mean, it was a little extra. Otherwise, it would have been needed. You would have probably needed to go on that. So let them know it's a little hot.
Control.
Whoa. Where? What?
He's going to hit and looks like roll all the way out of the
Little off,
rings.
Aaron, not bad.
Not a play.
You're fine. Just a little. 9-8.
That rock just stayed out, and they didn't try a switch on the sweeping to try to force it in a little bit.
A little hot. 85, 90. 85. It was a 9-8, not a 4. 90. 85.
So Luke's gonna call another draw.
Luke's calling another draw underneath his center guard. Try to clear it with plenty of room so he doesn't peek out the backside like Harsted's.
Yeah, it really moved.
Line's good.
Yeah, a lot of finish.
G, little out there.
I was talking to Craig
Gotta
yesterday,
go.
the ice maker, and he said
Curl
that
as much as you can here.
our stones here in St.
14-3.
Paul, they've got an
G as much
aggressive
as you
side
can.
and a non-aggressive side.
Mhm.
And so last year he
Yeah,
took
just
the
go. If
aggressive
you're deep,
side
it's
and really
okay.
sanded
Go,
them down.
go,
And he
go,
said
go,
that
go,
players
go,
at
go,
this
go,
level
go.
prefer that,
Good.
but he'll never
Back
play
well.
those in
Back-
league.
back
So
line.
next week he'll
Okay.
flip
I
it
don't care
back
if it gets out. Let's just tap it, okay?
because they have more
Yeah, now
rotation.
he's just got that little
They're
extra
used to playing
rotation.
with
You need
more
to give him a little
swing.
less.
Yeah, some of the league deliveries without much rotation can tend towards those rocks
Which I thought it
moving
was actually
almost sideways across the sheet as they finish.
Plus it's straightening out. Probably.
So Corbett's going to play a freeze up to
Gotta curl.
the shot on the 4-foot that Violette just executed.
It's got to really move.
Jensen's weight is strong again. He's back in the shoes.
Salute that one. It's going to the graveyard.
Yeah. How's the hair outside, too?
Yeah. Let's go.
I will try during the course of the game to identify some of the other sheets that are occupied out here.
Line's good. Little room. G got a curl. You can leave it up here. Yep, go. Yep, go, G, go. Go. Yep, little more. Go. That's good. Yeah.
There is a fair amount of interest in the curling world, and especially in the non-curling world, of the progress of the Jared Allen rink, the professional.
Yep.
3 professional football players have added Jason Smith as their skip for this year. Ooh, nice double.
Nice double.
Evan executes a really nice double.
Just another day at the park for Evan Jensen.
Yep,
Probably
still
8 years our best
still
bet.
a lot of house to draw to, and those 2 rocks out in front are not necessarily advantageous to the Corbett rink.
Line's good. Just top 4.
Yeah, it was a nice double, but his stuck.
G's right, or line's
Well,
good,
he
line's good.
pretty much
Looks
had
like
to
it's
stick
coming
it
down on
to execute the double.
Hey, G, if you can. Gotta get paint, though. Let's go, boys. Come on.
Wow, that's
Okay, well, leave it,
That one's
leave it wide,
checking
leave it
up.
wide there.
They're not going to quite reach the rings.
Okay. Either one. Just kind of got slow on you. Yeah.
Derek's contemplating the draw, and he is going to come around
Go under the yellow.
his stone that's about 5 feet short of the rings. Try to grab a piece of the 4 foot.
boy, a lot of room outside the rings.
Yeah, they've seen how much that
Line's good. Make sure it's here.
that's swinging. I can.
Gotta
It's
go,
already
gotta
taking
go,
off
gotta
now.
go.
I think we're
Whoa,
we're already
we're
on the
not
guard,
by,
and
we're not by.
they're looking at perhaps trying to come through the gap. Just a little light on the weight to,
Yeah.
but
So
as
just
you can
off
see,
light off
that
your hand, or- I don't know.
that turn's going to require
Aaron, was it
a
just
fair
right
bit
off
more
my
broom to.
To this, though, they can get to here.
Yeah,
We're right
significant,
here.
a little bit more
Thing
weight,
is
eh?
this,
Unless he turned the handle on his release, which is hard to pick up, but that's another
Yeah, I think so.
another reason that we might have seen that much swing on that turn.
I didn't know if I wanted a straight peel or
Well,
run, but I figured.
Evan missed it, didn't he miss a draw last stand?
Yeah, I did as well.
He went to
Yeah,
the
just because
almost
if
to the
we,
hack
like,
on a couple of
overcurl
his
a little
draw
bit, we
attempts
can't
so
get
far,
there.
so
But
I think
we
he's
have
maybe
it.
got that in the back of his mind a little bit.
And then he
that was my first thought too.
threw the double before.
So the straight peel
It was kind of funny. I was just confused because I was like, he threw 3 rocks. And I
Yeah,
was like,
well, they'll be throwing 3 as long as
the conference call is going on.
the call's going on. I'm looking back over my shoulder and
Stick a little harder than last time with that same app.
seeing that Brandon Corbett is still tied up on his work phone call.
I could. He's probably on a wireless. Like I could turn off the Wi-Fi, and then
Lines
would
and
have
air
to.
tight. Yep.
he would have to get off.
Hard line.
After watching another set of your rocks, I understand what you
Hard line.
This one's hanging out a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit light on the weight, and they really cut.
Yep.
So he's leaving that rock 10 feet short of the rings, and as see it, it cut all the way over. So I think with the right weight, that's probably close to the right broom.
A lot more of a center kick. And if we overbury, that's fine.
Yeah,
The hole's not
absolutely.
big.
You
Right?
got the good run back, so.
I think I need this much. I gave you here, but just between the two of us. Yep.
So slow.
Because this is approximately to the button for me, so let's do it right at the cross there.
You really can get it, especially when we get out there.
So Evan Jensen holding the broom for
What? You try to throw a 90? Yeah.
Derek Corbett. And
Yeah, they're giving more broom.
So slow
Evan
here,
Jensen's
right?
in Stapera Rink's house holding the broom.
So
yeah, he's right on the edge of the sheet, holding the broom right at the tee line.
I like 70, 75. We're back on, it's not the end of the world. Let's just get it in. Good, a little more, Evan. Just come up.
Yeah, he's going to walk up the line a bit, which is, it's like moving over into the other sheet. So he's probably taking broom about 3 or 4 inches outside of the edge of the rings, or outside of the edge of the sheet of ice.
Close line, you gotta go line.
Whoa, wait on me.
Line's okay.
Wait on me.
Run down, Aaron.
Looks
Run
tight
down.
to me, but
Yeah, no, they're keeping a good eye on it. And he's coming by with plenty of room. See, that's where you get the weight right.
Yeah.
And the rock acts as it should. They're getting it just short of the 4 foot.
It's the tap. Yeah.
Well covered.
We could play it as like a run. That's pretty thin, right?
Violet's got
no shit.
a couple options here. Looks like they're going to play a run back, angle run back on the rock that they left a couple feet shy of the rings.
I don't like that it opens up this other draw path, right?
No, I know.
So I think it's
right to here.
yeah. I got it all day, right?
So not a run back, but just a tap back. So he's going to try to tap to
How much less ice do you think we need here?
tap to 4 foot under
We're
cover.
basically we're throwing back 4, right?
At least.
Or back 8.
Back 8.
Right? And we want it. I mean, if it curls to here, I think that's
probably
close.
taking ice here.
No, more than that. I think it's here. I think
Where'd
it's
you have for the draw? Because
Here.
that's what we had for your
I think
draw
we take the
shot.
same ice.
You like that?
Hair less.
Okay.
I mean, we want to be on the high side.
No,
so
I know. You want to be about here.
Go back to the original spot.
Shout out to Tyler George if you're glued to the feed. Hope you're
It is a little
not
slower
having
out
too
here,
miserable a time curling
back
in
8
Hawaii. Tyler's coach of the Violette team.
Back 4.
Line's close.
Little
Where's
room.
the weight? Hey, whoa, we got a curl. Whoa.
Close.
They're looking for it to curl. The weight looks
Curl.
close.
Hard, G,
Whoa,
hard.
got a curl.
They're just looking for that line to get
Go
right.
around.
Yep, John,
Whoa, go, G, go.
Just
Hard, go,
not
go, go,
quite
go.
enough
Yep. Not enough juice.
weight and a little too much broom to execute the shot they were looking for. So Corbett will be basically playing
Yeah, you're right about
a
the ice.
repeat of
4 inches
his
left.
previous shot.
Yeah, and
He
well,
came by
you-
Probably need another
with plenty of room to spare in the guard, so if he can throw close to the same weight, he should have a good shot at evening up the score here in the second end.
It's interesting. Evan moved his broom forward.
He came up about to there on
he
the
did?
previous shot. Yeah,
I was thinking
they
it was
had
on the tee.
He was on the tee to begin with, but right before Derek delivered the rock, he had to move up a bit just for that extra broom. Well, he seems to have
Gotta make sure it's there.
thrown plenty of weight. They're safe. They ultimately like to play right to that rock, and he has successfully done so. Nice toss.
All right.
2 rocks for yellow.
Corbett ties it up.
Tied up after 2.
What's going on in the other sheets?
Okay, I'm looking around to.
So that side,
Haven't
he
gotten
just
quite
throws
acquainted
from his
to
first to his second. Yeah, it's
who is
14-1
playing
and
which
well,
rocks.
that's
I
why
was
it's like a
glancing
14-1
down
there, so he got
at
13-2 on his first.
Jason Smith and
I was too positive. So a big
the
thing
Jared
is that
Allen
in
rink.
this club, once you play on a line
They
for a
are
while, it really
playing
strings up, and that's what just caught us
with
over
the
here.
hammer.
Right, so but yeah, let's make sure we get our draw weight
Red
down.
Rocks, which I believe are Todd Burr, are
Yep. I mean, unless they make
are sitting 3 right now. 2 in the front 8.
Yep.
1 just behind the 4 foot in the back 8.
get after it.
Yep, let's go, boys.
Here we go. Some pressure and get some
Yep.
Jason playing a big weight hit on this. If he catches it right, he could spill them all.
All right, let's get after it.
Just missed the back one. Gets the double on the top two, leaving the burr rock on the back 8.
It's close. Stay on the left.
Aaron
stay there,
Carlson
Evan.
out with the first rock of the third
Two.
end.
Gotta go. Right here's perfect. It's over curling a little. Make that a lot.
Weight's fine. Wow.
Okay. So. Yeah, that sounds right. Yep. I think so.
Looking across the St. Paul Curling Club over to sheet 1, where Jed Brundage up against Simonette, and Brundage
1, 2.
took
Okay.
2 in
Yeah, curl,
the
blanket.
first end,
Get her here.
and
Little line skate.
Simonette has the hammer in the. I'm sorry, they blanked the first
5-3.
end. Brundage took 2 in the
15-6.
second end,
Right here.
and has 2 rocks
Nice,
out
G.
in
Good.
front, playing the third.
Yeah.
So a corner, a little deep, a
Yeah,
little off to the
same
side
way. Yeah.
by Graham Fenson. And Corbett throwing up another center guard.
Flying and dragon, baby. Close the same. I mean, this one has a lot of space, but it looks like it's heavy. Whoa.
3.
Whoa. Come now, come now, come now, come now. Hurt, 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 Evan, hurt, Evan, go. That's really nice, Aaron. Really nice throw. Good for you.
Evan curled on my team a couple years ago. It was fun.
He's a good curler, fun guy to curl with.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Not that interesting, but the year before we didn't win a lot of games, and then we won a lot of games. Went from like a D team up to a B team, and then he left. We went right back down to a D team.
Funny how a single player can have that effect.
I don't think. I think it was more that it was the
Little
emotional
room.
support that he gave.
Top 8. Easy early, got it, curl.
You
It was
lear-
actually the vision of the shots. I think.
you learn a
Go on
lot.
there,
You do
square.
learn a lot playing leagues with
Go, Ryan.
a player of that caliber.
Whoa, whoa, John.
I haven't played
Right,
with
right,
Evan.
right, go.
Played against him a couple of times, and he's
Keep going, keep it going.
he's a
keep
good
it going.
curler,
Go, go, go,
very
go,
good
go, 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 go.
competitor.
All right, pretty good, G. Sorry about that. Can we hit yet? No.
Well, there's 4 rocks there, so no, you can't.
I'm not good at the Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
Derek
seen
checking to
that
see
in my life.
if they can hit. He can hit the rock in the house, of course.
They should have lighted sign that says that you can hit now, so you don't have to keep track of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the challenge of skipping is keeping
Good job,
track
Horner.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, counting to 5 is
think-
not hard.
A good front end is also
Go, girl.
the lighted sign to tell you that you can or can't hit at a particular point. He looks like he's going to play to that one.
Hack, plus.
And
Close to
just
board.
perhaps enough
Close,
to
close, sweep,
to
yeah,
tap it through
sweep.
the rings.
Hard.
They said hack
Hard,
plus.
Evan, gotta go.
Yep, he's playing to tap it through, and I think it's going to over curl and take that rock
my bad again.
off, which is
Just- I'm just
going
not giving
to take his shooter out of play. He got a nice roll out of it, but since it took
It
the
was coming more.
since it took the red rock,
I think it was closer this way, but
Well, I know. You can do what you want, Luke. Yeah.
that's a little too much.
no. Back
That's pretty close.
Yeah, we could rewind the tape.
Good throw, Evan. My bad. Aaron, my bad.
So
Let's make this good.
that shot, I would think I'm not a good strategy person, but I would have thought that maybe drawing down to it might be reasonable.
That's not a bad way to call it. However, if you can just remove that rock and
Just stop it.
perhaps get a little roll out of
Little
it,
room. Lot of
or
room.
even sit in the open, you are pretty much forcing Violette's next
13-3.
shot to the
It was up
hit.
late too, and it just still no,
Yeah, no.
But instead,
not enough ice.
Harstead is trying the draw underneath and just coming with a little bit too much
Same
weight,
thing.
just clears the
If
rings
we got that, it's okay.
behind the back line.
Speeding up.
Now he has
Okay.
the opportunity
I'll give you
to
life.
The guard.
Same thing.
remove the
Pat.
top rock as
wanna
he
peel?
plays
Kind of. Yeah.
pretty much the same shot.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
They're talking about
Can we do this?
getting rid of the
Yeah.
corner guard, which is
Normal?
sound strategy.
Normal?
I never thought it was odd. Never. Had a maybe back four once we got about halfway.
If they could get the kind of roll that they got out of the first shot, that would be probably the ultimate result from playing here.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Evans up a bit. Looks like he might actually be on the back
Sweep,
rock.
sweep.
Yep!
Hard, Aaron, go.
He's having him sweep it by, and he
Fine. Whoa,
takes
I'm
it out,
sorry,
but
Luke.
rolling out of the
I didn't
rings.
realize how thin it was either,
you're good,
so
you're good.
sorry. I definitely did not need to go
You know,
for
it's
that.
funny on those kind of shots. A lot of times I would call they were staggered wrong, but
Yeah.
sometimes you call the back one. You're like, oh, if you get the guard, it's fine.
Well, that's
Not
what
very
they.
often you
That's
see it the opposite
well,
way.
that's the initially how he was proposing the shot, and they decided to go for the peel on the guard instead, and ended up with a little bit extra weight and taking the back one off. So Violette choosing with Harsted's second stone to come underneath the center guard, playing aggressively.
Line's close. Line's good. As you are, G.
Try
strong.
to get Corbett to
Yep,
chase.
fine. Whoa, line's good. Top 8. 14-3. 14-3. Line as you are. Line's good. Right here. Right to my stick.
I like that as you
Whoa,
were. It
whoa,
sounds
whoa,
almost
whoa,
like
whoa. Good.
a Shakespeare reference or something.
The chase,
Girl, man.
Yeah, when he said, "As
I
you
think we
were,
have to,
as you
right?
were."
as you were,
What
yeah.
else? That's silly.
I like that one.
That's silly.
Like
That's
running?
that's Shakespearean
so.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we missed
Shakespeare
it.
is
They go
pretty
here. Now we're
silly.
looking at 3. I think this is the shot.
Okay. You don't like the
Yeah.
Come around.
Straight peeling is not an option. We have to make
Yeah,
it,
okay.
right? I think this is the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why is not like
A run back here is
I
one
think
of the
this is okay.
options.
Is it just too difficult? Or
Not particular. I mean,
risky,
the ice is a bit swingier here, but players of this caliber ought to be making a run back like that, but they are choosing to come around to a freeze on the rock
Close,
instead.
Easy.
looks a little fast on my video screen?
There's definitely staying
pretty
away
good.
from the rock.
Are we fast?
It's back.
He
Whoa.
might
Yep.
be
Whoa.
he might be coming behind it.
We don't want him hitting. Whoa.
Whoa, let it on its own. On its own. Sorry.
I mean, makes the scoring area a little smaller. Okay. Good throw. Nice line.
Do you have an overhead shot of
Yep.
Okay.
that went fairly deep? I was just
Yeah, it's
looks
biting
like
the back of
Right
the.
here.
back of the 8.
Yeah.
Looks like the Red Rock is full front 4,
It's either that or
and
here.
couple of options
What do you like?
for Luke Violette to choose to come around either side. I think he'll choose the ice that he just played. A little more comfortable with that, and if he can come around to get frozen on that top rock with the catcher in
Line's
the
good.
back, he could be setting up for a
Stop
big
it.
end.
Little room. Looks hot. On this still.
They're still on the guard. They haven't cleared
Yep,
the guard. Oh yeah, they stayed
All right.
well out behind. That rock ran
Good piece. Okay.
exceedingly straight. And on the overhead, can you tell me if
It looks like it's
short-
biting,
it is? We've got a piece
but
of
it's
the rings.
really close. Like I can't really zoom in though. It's hard to tell. But actually, I think I can see some white in there.
Do we have a straight overhead camera?
Yep. Oh no, it's
Oh
biting.
yeah, definitely biting.
Yep.
Aaron.
Close.
It's going to be tight.
So Evan Jensen
Line's good.
delivering.
Line's good. Line's good. Evan Stone. Evan Stone. Freeze it if you can. Freeze it if you can, boys. Hard. You gotta go.
You got to go.
Got his
yeah.
got his weight dialed in much better on this, and they're
Every inch. That's pretty good, Evan.
coming up, fighting top 8,
Bite the 4.
leaving Violette with really only one choice here to come around the other side.
We have new overhead cameras this year. That was the thing that we improved on the streaming.
That certainly will be nice. We were a little bit challenged on picture quality
Go, boys.
the last couple of years. It'll be nice to have a clearer view of
14-1.
houses
Full 8 foot at least.
on the
Right
local
here, right
monitors.
here. Easy.
And a well-thrown rock right in front of the tee line, right underneath the other center guard.
Yep. In the evening quarter of the 4 foot.
Surveyback's good. Pocket's good. To double your shooter rolls.
Derek and Evan are sizing up whether to come around and follow that or run the rock outside the rings
I actually like that spot more than what I called.
back into the pile, as it were, catching the rock that was just delivered by Riley
I
Fenson.
kind of want to throw my
Get ready.
Your out turn?
Looks like the conference call is over.
Oh,
I mean, it's
What are we
really
throwing?
finicky, but you weren't.
Firm?
you didn't
Firm?
throw it bad. Inside out.
Brandon Corbett headed to the locker room. Looks like if all sides are amenable, he'll be joining the game in the next end.
Brandon just stopped by and asked if I could share Violette's secret strategy. I said
I'm
no.
going to throw firm or a little more.
You know, broadcasting ethics.
Of course.
Even if he gets through it, does he? Yeah.
So,
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's throwing.
is he trying to go through that?
Could be. I think he is.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Close. Yep.
That's a tight spot if he is.
Really
Yeah.
hard! Really hard!
No, it's a
Nope.
run back.
Yeah.
It's a riding back, and that well over curled.
Yeah.
We kind of need a guard.
Now it's just the guard, I think.
And with 2 rocks safely in the 4 foot,
better.
looks like Violette will
we
be
Do something like
tossing
this.
a guard up here.
Was he trying to smoke? Just trying to kill him?
I mean, he never does kill
do
them
you ever
both.
just go here, Luke?
I mean, I think we go here. Let him run our own rock in.
If he throws up a successful guard, Corbett will be either forced to try to come around to the back of the 4 foot
Yeah.
on his left-handed
We want him
in-turn side.
I like it.
I'm sorry,
No,
left-handed
your rock
out-turn
rolled again,
side.
so just a
Being
hair more
right-handed, I
ice
always
probably.
struggle with
He just got
picking
his
that up.
change it.
Or you would have to play a double run back on the top 2 yellow.
I think it's just a tight 3 guard.
It's interesting that he considered
Yes, but I
drawing
don't
another
think
one
he
in
make it
there
good
to
enough to where I can't tap.
kind of force the 3. Or not force the 3, but push them.
I mean, the only other shot is
Well,
we throw that in turn
leaving his shot rock
down.
here
Do you like-
fully
do you like that?
exposed
'Cause, I mean, he doesn't have a
with
whole
the
lot right now.
potential
He
for
can't really
Corbett
get
to
in.
roll
It's just if we ever
underneath
keep, we leave him a free.
off of it
So, I mean, what do you-
wouldn't be terribly sound.
I mean, you got a higher chance at 3 probably going playing the other way. Because right now he doesn't have a double. Right? Well, he might be able to squeak in. Let's just throw this.
He's thinking about it.
Yeah, holding
Oh, yeah,
holding
so
the
just-
hammer. I
we want a
think
3
that
guard, nothing high here.
I think that the guard on this shot is the wisest play.
I wonder what Ben Richardson thinks.
You'd have to go find him,
He was on the chat stream earlier.
or was he?
Yeah.
How's the weight?
Line's good.
I'm hoping he'll overcurl and give it to us.
Line's good.
Whoa.
He's going to need to get some finish here, but his weight is nice. They should be able to finish this rock pretty strong to get it to Very effective guard.
Yeah, that lined up nice.
Good. I still think we have to play it.
Corbett's
Yeah,
got
Overcurl
double.
the hair,
We can
but
push
I
it
don't think
through
it's
there.
fine.
Or we can get to nose, right?
We can't get to nose.
Oh yeah, we can. With back 8 weight.
He
I mean,
Derek
overcurl
seems to
just
think
the
that
hair.
Just do it.
he can come around and maybe even get a little bit of tuck with the right
Even just being
little roll
right up to
underneath
it
with
is-
the right
Makes
weight.
the 3 hard, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking, right? So we play back 8 weight, trust it to curl, right? Just get by this thing here.
Yep.
Yeah? Back
Yes.
8 weight.
Back
I
eights,
like it.
Get it right in the pocket.
Yeah, right in the pocket. Try to get by this guy with back 8 weight. See what happens, right?
What do you think?
This is my what? Intern, right?
This is your intern.
This is a big shot. It's definitely
Give me back 8 weight.
in an 8-end game. Getting
Back
getting
8
the
weight,
shot to the right place will keep you in a good spot. But if you click that guard, it's going to leave Violette with a fairly free shot for 3. And
Yeah, he gets to do the same shot basically. Oh, Ben liked that call.
Okay,
So there you
2
go.
inches more. More. Yeah.
Corbett,
That's about
Derek Corbett asking for just a bit more broom. And
We freeze, it's not the end of the world.
if
Just gotta
I-
get by that guard, yeah.
That seems like a lot. If he wants to get in the pocket, it seems to me that's
if I trust their discussion, he's wants to play
Little up,
back
baby.
back
Close,
four
Aaron, close, Aaron.
back 4 plus.
Whoa! Whoa! Wait only.
These turns
Lot
are
of
very
room.
weight sensitive.
A lot of room. Stay close.
He's
Oh.
now
Oh,
see how
Aaron, push!
it's finishing.
Aaron, switch and
It's
push!
finishing.
Switch
He's
and
switching
push!
to the other side for a
Go!
push, and
Should still be us, right?
Sweep. Can you
You
do?
think they got it?
yellow
Not even close, right? What are you looking at?
yellow got to 2, or are they?
We're sitting 2.
Oh,
yeah,
they're
so I think it's
very
not an
close
issue if we
to
No, by the time it got
But,
to you.
It looks like
measuring second shot. Looks like red's probably second, aren't they?
yeah. I think
Tighter
red
rather
is.
than heavy, right?
If I had a guess.
Yeah, because I think.
So it
well,
looks
just- I
as
think
if they are.
should,
Next sweep, Aaron.
right? I don't know. I mean, it's just gonna be tough.
If
I
they're
would say.
1-2,
It's
even if
straight
they're
down
just
a little
1,
bit.
they're going to try to grab a big piece of the forefoot coming in on
I think it's there.
Luke's intern.
I mean, we could play some sort of tap.
No,
but-
it's a draw.
Yeah.
Because you can rub this.
Yeah. Maybe just yeah.
You're good. Okay. So look,
Just-
upper 13.
Really? I think it's quicker than that here.
I think our feed just died.
Grant, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Not sure though.
What do you want to do?
The video?
Yeah, I was watching.
Or
that.
everything.
Like an 85. Full 4.
I'm doing okay. I'm not enjoying myself. I don't like it. I mean, I can do it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Line's a little
You know what I'm saying?
tighter.
Like,
A little tight, G.
hold the broom.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Line's good.
Whoa.
Line's great. Close.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Happy with that.
What a bad time for the
Whoa.
feed to.
He doesn't. I'm
Die.
happy with him not getting 3 here.
Is it out?
Well, I think it
Bye-bye.
reinitialized.
Okay.
So
Well,
I think the people that
they're
are watching.
they're following Violette's rock into the forefoot. It might be a bit strong. Evan Jensen leaning on it and taking it deep.
All right,
So
It's fine.
2.
looks
Curl
like
time,
looks
I'm
like
calling
they've
it
concluded
double
that
it goes.
Violette
Under from every
was
control
sitting
it
second stone there. So
It's just, it curls a
Luke
lot.
and the
We'll
boys
hold
take a deuce,
it.
playing the third end, and we're
Told you.
we're going to hit the fourth, and I am going to be watching to see if
I'm pretty sure it's closer to a 15.
All right, how about you
Brandon
step
Corbett.
Up
I
to the
think it's
left. Does
closer
that work?
to 15.
we'll be joining the ice. Yep, Brandon taking
So the other thing is just
a
how much
practice slide.
down too, right? So anyways,
What's the call?
I mean, we learned that. Anyways, Riley, G, you're gonna throw rise rocks.
So the conference call is over. Brandon Corbett joining the other 3 on sheet 5,
All right. Well, let's play it similar to last.
and
time.
it'll remain to be seen
They didn't let us delay.
who picks up the broom.
Tight, we'll hit it.
Looks like it is Brandon, the traditional skip on this squad, will be in the house.
I'm feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, no, you're doing well.
You're curling.
That would have been my suggestion.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stop the stream and restart it.
Center guard, about 2.5 feet short of the rings.
It's close. Zero rock. I think we got it.
3.
Now playing with a full squad.
My stone.
What?
My stone.
Gotta go.
Aaron Carlson is attempting to throw his first rock underneath that center guard, and he successfully does. They get it to full 12, mostly covered.
Hey, Evan, I don't know weight, right? I can't judge, so I'm going whatever you say.
Yep. Yeah, throw it good, you know it.
What?
All right, keep it going. All the way. A little more.
Room down. I think he picked on something coming out. I already got it, but.
Graham fencing comes to the back of the 4-foot. About a third of it exposed.
That's why we hit it
A
hard,
rock
right?
that
We're gonna lose it.
Aaron Carlson should be able to come around
Control down.
and get a decent piece of.
Yep. Go hard. Really hard. Go.
I tried to tell you. I don't know if you heard me.
Got plenty of room coming by the guard. You're just going to hit and roll to the back 12.
Good call, Brandon.
Violette playing safe here, just hitting the rock
Shot. Minus 66.
in the back of the 4-foot,
What?
being wide open.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was back 8.
No, because we want to bring the one to play up top.
Yep. Hard.
Sweeping the line hard.
hard.
Looks like that rock
Hard, you gotta
might have
go
gotten
hard.
turned in a little
Hard,
bit,
right, hard, you
and
gotta go hard.
it is catching a piece but rolling out onto the edge of the house on the opposite side. So this rock ultimately will be placed right on top of the tee line, right on the edge or middle of the 12-foot.
Gotta go.
Switch. Oh, he's really light here.
All right, so it looks like,
I missed this.
well, I'm not
Go
sure.
hard, boys.
It looks like we might be live again. I have to get the game set up.
Yep. Hard.
It's high enough. Don't we make
Good
a
sweep.
Excellent sweeping by the Corbett squad, Carlson and
double
Derek Corbett,
It's not
to
worth chasing. I think
get
it's
Evan Jensen's rock
Try that or we try to run.
just in front of the
Not skip.
just in front of the
Yeah.
tee line,
Started out okay, then I
biting the 8-foot.
Like normal. It
I
should
could've
curl
made
a
that
good
shot
bit.
for-
Yeah.
So yellow, the Corbett rocks sitting 3 right now.
It'll curl a little more.
Riley Fenson sliding down the sheet, and Violette is lining up a hit with potential for a roll underneath in the vicinity of the button.
No, it's weird to have to like stand here and do nothing, and then all of a sudden you're on the spot. Yeah, it's weird. So 4-0 is about draw weight.
Riley letting the rock go.
Clean. Yep. Whoa.
It might be a little
Whoa.
straighter.
Whoa. Come on.
Straight hit, no roll. Little
From this side,
So Derek Corbett will continue to throw skip rocks.
I felt like it was dragging something like weird. I don't know why. Kind of weight.
Brandon Corbett headed down to throw the first of the yellow vice skip stones. A straight hit is okay here. A hit and roll underneath, potentially the better result.
sweep, Evan! Sweep!
They're sweeping for line.
Sweep!
And now they play the straight hit. Just a slight turn to the outside of the sheet. Leaving that rock there leaves the potential for a big hit and roll across the sheet for a double. Derek Corbett's questioning
There's a bunch of options. This rock doesn't
whether to
matter.
play the hit here since yellow is sitting 1-2 right now.
It must be 1-2, but they're looking at. We must be 1-2.
Brandon, having just joined the game this end, coming off of a work conference call that he could not escape, perhaps feels a bit more comfortable playing the hit than throwing his first draw of the game in this situation.
Yeah, we got to escape 3 off the board.
Yeah, definitely.
So. All right.
Is the feedback up?
I can't tell. I don't think so.
Clean.
I'm working with IT department.
Oh my gosh.
This rock is staying out, and he is going to roll off the rings.
Something is hell, but yeah. Well, we can get shot back here, right? So
You can roll if you want. I was so confused.
Luke Violette is lining up
it's just here.
with the
John was sliding on
yellow
the
rock
So
out on the wings of the 12-foot. He'll be playing to hit that and potentially roll underneath the center guard.
all right, normal weight here. Let's get a good roll. I just sliding a little tight. So as long as I get out here. Yep. Close.
I got 9-3.
Lean.
You got
Whoa.
Whoa!
Close. Yep. Yes, hard. Whoa. Go.
Gets
go,
the hit
go, hard.
and not quite the roll they were hoping for. Leaves it exposed for potential hit.
Roll out would be perfect. Yeah. Okay. Let's stick first, eh? Yep.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Corbett making sure he makes the hit, potentially looking to roll to the outside of the
I trust
rings.
it. Let's do it. 9-5.
Did he actually
Close, Aaron. Sweep. Yep. Hard.
Sweeping hard for line here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
You got it?
My side, so.
Looks like it's going to be a straight hit. A little bit of a roll to the outside. And all the way off the rings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Choosing to play the draw.
Put some pressure on him.
Make my shot harder for 2. Should be there though.
Let's get her from T-line.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even. Just top 4. It's scrolled so
I
hard.
thought we had it.
I know. I think it's straightening out. Yeah. I mean, it's all. I mean, it's all or nothing here. So. Okay. 14-5, I think.
Well, since the stream is not working, I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be right back.
Too much information.
Thank you.
Line's a little tight.
Sneaky big, little tight.
Line's a little tight. How's the weight?
Yep, line.
Gotta go for line.
Yep, line.
Good.
Line's good. Line's good.
Line's good. Oh, you
Girl,
got
G.
it.
All right, Luke. Draw for 2.
Ooh, Violette. I think the sweepers lost track of that one a little bit. They could have
4-1.
probably left that alone all the way and still gotten too deep.
So, it's really getting quick. I mean, we got it.
Derek Corbett lining up for a draw for 2 that will
Little down,
tie
clean.
this game up again.
Clean, just clean. Clean. Gotta go. Eyes up, boys. Feels good. Brim down. Eyes up, brim down. What's so complicated about this?
Can't believe they bruised
It's clean.
it that much.
Jesus. Good sweep, guys. Great shot.
Corbett half covers the button with a draw for 2, and that knots the game back up 4-4 after 4.
All right, it's quick.
I mean, I've never known.
Okay, so we just got to know. I think this left side here is quick for sure. Left side. But yeah, you know, we got to make. I mean, yeah, I should have thrown the run probably, but we got to
4-4 after 4.
I also that might not have been enough ice.
Yeah, it's really tight. Line a little, but it was never got yeah, we don't want to line it pretty good.
I know. So, all right, sounds good. All right, let's make some shots, okay?
Do you have a list of sponsors anywhere?
I do not have a list of sponsors. That's how organized I am.
It's okay.
I know that Scooterville has sponsored it. I've been down
Scooterville
to
is a
they've got that
sponsor.
Cool showroom there right next to all the music venues that are down there.
It is Entertainment Central down there, with Scooterville being the local Vespa dealer.
It's located right on the light rail stop.
The Franklin Light Rail stop on the Blue Line.
All right, I think we're back.
Oh. Well, we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Wait's close. 2. It'll curl.
Yeah, you know,
Brandon, it'll curl. We over curled here in the.
Yeah, it looks like it's
3.
working again. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
And it crashed just at that great time where Luke drew in for 3.
He did. He drew too deep. So it was only for 2. It was an attempt at 3. He drew deep, so in the third end, Luke Violette came up with 2 to take a 4-2 rock advantage. Corbett just drew the back of the button to grab 2 in the fourth end. So we're all tied up. 4-4 after 4.
I have to get the score streamer reset up here. Folks on the stream, sorry for the technical difficulties. Stuff just started crashing, and yeah.
Okay, little
I think,
room, John.
So
We're back up now, and hopefully we'll
Yep, got it, girl. Getting close.
keep
Still
things
gotta go. Okay,
keep
14
things in
for
working
you,
order
wait,
for the
huh?
rest of the match.
Wait a hair.
yeah, if anybody is in the chat stream, if you could
Yep.
comment if you can see and hear things.
Yep.
Of course,
Yep.
you certainly can't comment if you can't hear us. So there's a bit of a flaw there.
You gotta believe it, right? Okay. I mean,
If you don't hear anything, say so.
Yeah.
5. Line only. 4, 5. 6. 6.
More than genius.
We don't need to sweep.
Line only. Coming down. 6 still. 6 7.
Aaron Carlson's
All there.
Good freeze.
Down to that one.
second
Good
rock
freeze.
Bumping a little bit.
coming somewhat around his center guard, trying to cover a piece of the rock in the back of the 8-foot. It clicked and remained exposed.
I kind of like this.
Still the end.
So yellow sitting shot. Violette is mulling over whether
Let's
to
do that.
play off of that
Okay.
or the
Just-
draw underneath.
Just bite the 4.
So they're choosing to come underneath the yellow center guard. Graham Fenson's second rock. It's taking about 5.5 feet of ice
Line's
to
good.
draw underneath.
Little room, John.
This turn has been swinging pretty good with
Come on, boys.
the correct weight.
Let's go. We got it. Let's go. Come on, Johnny, go. Every inch.
Comes
Let's
by
go,
the center
Lil
with a foot
Keep
to
going. You
spare,
got it. Go, Johnny,
and
go,
they're
on your
getting
back.
close to
We
the front of the 4. Pulling full middle 8.
I know. All right, good job on that one. Yep. Yep.
Evan Jensen out with his first stone, second stone.
Close. 4.
Playing a draw under.
Room. Stay close. 5. Yep. 2. Hey! Dig, boys, dig! It turned and didn't do what we
Just
thought it would.
just a bit short of
Draw, it's us, Evan.
what they were looking for. They had a nice line.
I think it's here.
That's us, Brandon. Sorry.
Would have been placed nicely with about 3 more feet of weight on that rock.
It's like a 14.
Really good draw. Just undisrupted it. I shouldn't have been on the inside there.
Yeah, we're
I
on.
should have switched.
Nice spot, really.
Best angle.
A little early, Rye.
Oh, he dropped that.
Yep, line.
If we get that by they're on.
Yep, line. Gotta go line. All the way, Rye. Come on, hard. Really gotta go. Yep. Yep, hard, come on.
Just dropped it.
Jesus.
That rock swung over and just made contact.
Yeah, it just didn't finish.
Yeah, it looks like the yellow in the back is shot stone, right?
Weight's good.
I don't have a decent overhead here, so I'm relying on my crummy
What do you think about
eyesight
freezing the red,
looking
yellow
down to
pocket?
the
It's
far
not
end of
eight.
the
That's
end of the
That's
sheet.
why.
But yeah, now I can see your monitor. Looks like
Is that
yellow.
dumb?
Yellow's shot in
We don't
the
like it.
back 8.
This
Yep.
isn't
That's
bad.
wide open, they can use it.
Although last time I tried to expand this the house cam, that's
just
when
use it
everything
running
went to
all
heck.
over
So,
that.
Don't do that.
well, I don't think that's related. I don't know what happened. I think what it is that I'm drinking coffee and not whiskey.
That certainly
So just a hair more than your last one.
is potential for disaster.
409.
Evan Jensen's second rock, again trying to
5, 5, 4, 5.
come around where he left it just a
Close.
bit short last time. Line looks good.
That's good. 7. 7.
This
Line
one's
only.
staying out a bit. It'll
Switch.
finish hard.
Oh, we're there. We're
Coming
there.
by with about 10 inches to spare and going back to the back
Real nice,
4.
Evan.
Yeah. We need to get rock in there.
Probably just here.
Yep, I like that.
So
Violette can follow here. This will be Harstad's
This
second
side's not a
rock.
problem, is it? I kind of thought it was.
And if he can follow to a freeze, that's a pretty good spot.
Right. Because they're only sitting 1 second up there, right? Or 1, 2. No, they're.
Corbett has the hammer,
Yep,
right?
line. Yep.
Corbett does not have the hammer. Corbett scored in 4, so Violette with a
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hard, gotta go.
last stone advantages, and
Hard,
Mike.
right.
they're sweeping hard for the line. He's
Keep going. Lock it on the
You
wire.
could tack
Whoa, 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 whoa.
tap the yellow in.
going to promote it a bit. So yellow should be sitting 1, 2, 3 at this point.
Yeah.
So his play is the freeze or the tap now, right? His play is the double. I think that, yeah, maybe there's an option there too.
Quite a few possibilities for the Violette squad. So
What do you like?
Corbett brothers are talking about their best.
That leaves this
Their
thing.
best
He'll throw that
shot.
double, right?
Violet potentially has a run back on the 2 red rocks, which could potentially spill all the, at least a couple of the yellows. He's got a tap back
You got it.
on his red rock in the front 8. So they
Same thing.
can't guard everything, so it looks like they might just try to come around and get to where Harstad attempted to get his rock, which would be front 4 or possibly frozen on the yellow rock in the back 4.
And just come down on Jensen's rock.
Leaving it in the top 4 certainly would increase the pressure on
7-8.
what Riley Fenson
Line only.
would have to throw with his next rock.
Stay close.
Nothing unless you have to for weight. Where?
8, 9.
Gotta go back,
This
guys.
is
we gotta be
this is
here.
Brandon Corbett's
We
first.
would have just nosed it. Well, I guess we would have jammed. Never mind. And rolled.
We still had a lot of roll under it.
Lots of weight, and that rock is staying outside. That might come all the way by. Takes the yellow one off the back. I would have liked to time that. That was looked to be about a 7.5 second hog-to-hog hit. That was lightning fast.
Line was perfect.
Sometimes the attempt to throw the weight to get a lot of action off of a double hit like that will make that rock run a lot straighter than you had hoped.
Yeah.
So Brandon Corbett trying to dial a little bit of weight off of his last shot, get it to come around to the front of the 4-foot.
Aaron! Aaron, where?
Yep, go ahead.
Might be a little tight. They
Line's okay.
seem to be
7, 7, 8.
interested
No,
in the
get it,
line.
Hot.
He's got
7, 8, 8.
No,
7,
can't.
8, 8.
so he's calling out weight in
Evan,
the back of the
Evan.
8-foot, trying to carve that rock in a little bit. Getting it to 3, but in a vulnerable spot where he's behind the tee line.
They still have to make it.
Almost makes a catcher.
I'm really good. You got it, Broom?
Chad, you
Here, I'll
sit down
switch
so
it.
it takes and just roll
I
back.
guess technically you can't use mine. Right?
Looks like Luke still likes that double
Yeah, no, I'm
run.
still looking at the run, though.
What about like raising the red on the other side?
Well, I think he's keeping that in the bank. That really only gets him.
I think maybe when I yell Aaron, it means sweep.
That
but
gets
unless
him
I
to
say
1
sweep,
with a lot of,
yeah, just the little thing.
little chance of
85.
scoring a deuce in the end.
If it looks lower out of his hand by the time it's saying about. So.
This shot,
Yell Aaron, I just mean your rock.
this shot potentially opens things up a little bit more for them. Gets rid of some of the pile of yellow rocks that's stacking up. Are we looking at 4 yellow
Yep.
rocks
4 yellow.
scoring right now?
Yeah. You could also draw down to that one in the back, and then that would.
I'm gonna if Riley plays that same kind of weight, I'm gonna try to get a hog-to-hog split on this because he lit that last one up pretty good. This one's staying out again, not quite getting as full as they'd like. He's got a piece though.
Oh, that one bounced back.
And used that back red as a catcher. So what are we looking at? Am I looking at 3 or 4 rocks in the?
It's 4, yeah.
So that hog-to-hog hit by Riley, I clicked at a
Whatever you like.
6.3.
It's up to you.
I like that.
I like this side, right?
I like the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Is it okay if it's light? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, pro side light.
So we're looking for a 0, right? That's pretty much what I've been throwing. It'll curl, it'll do it late.
Derek Corbett lining up basically the same shot they've
light,
thrown
3-4.
for the 4th rock in a row, which is attempting a draw to the front of the 4-foot.
Yep, keep going, keep going.
This is gonna overcurl a bit on them,
Hard push.
and
Hard.
hopefully they can roll it back to a bit of a guard.
My bad. I was going for the roll.
Now Violette appears to be lining up the tap on his
It's good weight, Derek. What? It's good weight.
his rock in
My
the
release was pretty bad.
top 12.
I usually set my ends really hard, and I slid wide, and then I'm
Looks
like,
like it's
"Ah."
going to be very tight to
I
sneak
don't
it
mean to set 'em hard,
sneak
but
it by the
they
other
usually
rock,
run for
red
straight,
rock
that
that's
wasn't.
situated on the center line.
But weight was nice. That's what I'm most worried about. Weight was good.
Yeah, all those 4 in the back. So
Just going to hit up a couple other sheets from what I can see. Jed Brundage holds a 5-3 advantage over Chase Simonette over on sheet 1, playing the 6th end. Comes Luke Violette playing the tap. Weight looks very close, and
Sweepers
they're
are
just
on and
getting
off.
the line right. It just about perfectly placed.
Oh, nice shot.
Tapped it to a freeze on the edge of the 12-foot. Just about as perfect as you could play that rock. So now Derek's got to.
You ready to just guard the tap for 2 and make him throw this?
That's got to be a little bit demoralizing.
Well, you never
Oh,
you
yeah.
never assume a steal. It's nice
You'll have the
to
same thing.
put the pressure on and be sitting several stones. But you know, when you're playing skips of this
Yeah,
caliber,
double's no good. Yeah, I think that's
you
the shot. Yeah, let's make
should
it. We can
expect
even
the tough
probably get most of the
expect
nose
the
of that
tough
guy.
shots to be made.
After this end, I can
Sorry,
update
guys,
scores
I'm
on
a little wider on my
the other
first,
sheets.
but
I've
they don't
got
really have that grade
the
on
men's
it. They're gonna
scores
have
and then
that
the
anyway,
women's
so
scores on
it's a shot.
curling zone.
Oh, is this? I was looking earlier today on curling zone and didn't see this event as an option for scoring a deuce.
Doesn't do much. It's heavy. It's heavy.
He's
right?
got a couple
They don't need to be
couple
sweeping.
potential shots. One to the long in off, but I think playing the same shot he just played is
All right.
likely going to be the case. Just trying to tap that red rock in the front 12
Good for you guys.
back to full
He
4.
was worried about it cutting and
Yeah, he
whacking.
was.
Yeah.
I knew I was going for line. We were there all the time.
If only we had got points for second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth shot. Right. All right, at least we'll have hammer in the sixth.
So Luke lets the hammer rock go,
Close, G.
and the sweepers will be trying to play the same line that they just had. This rock's got a little bit more weight and just is not curling up like the first one did.
So they get 1.
So 1 for Violette in the 5th end, taking a 5-4 advantage. You want to run down the other sheets in play right now?
Yes.
I think that's a glider.
So on sheet 1, well,
I mean, that was like hacked there.
Brundage versus Sinnott, it's tied 3-3 in the 4th end.
No, they've hung the 5th end now. So Brundage is
All right, sounds good. Let's
playing
go.
with a 2-rock advantage, playing the 6th.
All right. There you go. And then on Nico Runen, according to my score sheets, Rune is up 4-3 in the fourth.
And Ruinen added one in the fifth end, so they're up 5-3 as well, with Nico holding the hammer in the sixth end.
And then Burr versus Smith is Burr's in the red stones, Smith is in the yellow. So we have 5-2 in the fourth, according to.
Okay, and Burr pulled off a steal of 2 in the fifth end, so they are up 7-2, playing the sixth.
And then Clausen Dunham has Dunham up 6-0.
6-0 after 5.
And then this one obviously is 5-4.
And
then,
the first,
A little tight, if anything.
first rock just being delivered for the sixth end.
Faster.
And then Dominic,
Bill Stapera and Dominic Merke are over on sheet 6.
yeah, and that's 3-1 for Dominic.
That is correct. They're playing the sixth end. Nobody has hung the score from the fifth, so does Curling Zone show what end?
That's in the fourth, yeah.
Okay, so nobody's hung a score in the fifth end. I'm just trying to figure out what went down in the fifth.
And then on the sheet 7 is the women's match. Cassie Potter versus Susan Doot.
4, 5, 2, 3. 2, 3.
And it looks like it's in the fifth, it's 4-3. In the fifth for Susan Doot's
They're
squad.
playing the sixth end, and that is correct. Doot up over Potter, 4-3, with Doot holding the hammer.
He wants it on the paint.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I was sweeping.
So Corbett chooses to throw their first rock underneath a longish center guard that was put up by
We underswept it.
Graham Fenson.
I think it's 14, 9, 15.
I have a hard time sweeping hard if the inside sweeper's not sweeping hard. I have a really hard time doing that. I need to work on it, but.
I didn't see where Luke tapped his broom, but it looks like they're looking to come into the house.
Yeah, I had it out on kind of on the outside of the 12-foot.
All right, boys, let's go. Come on.
Oh, where he pointed.
Hard.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Hard,
And it
let's
looks
go.
like this one will come up short of the rings, but
Every inch.
not a bad potential guard for them to use later.
No, I mean, not a bad setup.
Looking at Graham Fenson out there, it's like climbing into the time machine and going back more than a couple decades and seeing his dad, Pete. Fairly strong family resemblance there.
A little more. Close. Close.
I don't think we can.
Gotta go.
Not that his dad looks old
There.
at this point in life. I have to say Pete Fenson has
Just worry about it over curling.
kept himself in pretty tip-top shape.
Hey, John, let's make this.
Sure.
Corbett's got a couple on the outside just hanging out there.
Corbett's got two
Second 4-0.
12-foot biters, one just under the long center guard and one exposed on the edge of the sheet. Violette choosing to play the aggressive route here and trying to throw, be that first rock underneath to
Hair tight, if anything.
get the chase going on. This will be the last of the 5
Line straight.
free rocks. So it's
Take a look.
all
Hang it
hits
low.
after here.
14-3.
This rock
Still
is
there.
clearing the
Right close.
guard
go,
by a
Rye.
good
We gotta get
bit
you
and going to the back of the
Go
4-foot.
right all the way. Come on.
Beyond the 4-foot into the 8. So here goes the long center guard.
Or do we sink another here?
Corbett looking for the peel or
Not easy.
potentially a double
Sink
peel
a
if
good one.
can be executed Just a single.
So why do you think that he put the? Did they try to put the high guard up?
I don't think you ever
It's
intend
here,
to be that long. He probably wanted to be a good 3 or 4 feet closer at least. You know, just sometimes
Normal. You like this?
ice begins to change later in the game. Maybe they're picking up a bit of a slowdown. A lot of times the slide path will slow down where the curlers have been sliding over the course of the game. That center portion of the ice will slow down late, and so
Hard.
if you've timed a rock thinking that it's going to be sweepers think it's going to be deeper than that, you just have to give it a little bit extra as the game progresses.
Little frustration showing in the Violet squad.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of trouble in the last 2 times down this way playing the hit on the rock out there.
Still down. Yep.
Going for another peel on the red center guard. Looks like they're going to just barely miss the on the roll with the rock over on the left edge of the rings.
How do you want to make this, John? Or it's you, right? Right?
Huh?
Nothing.
All right, let's throw a nice normal here. Make this bitch.
Uh-oh.
Make it.
So Riley Fenson looking to remove this rock. He's brought his weight back to a
Clean. Yep.
more sort of normal control level.
Clean.
He just wants a piece of that and a bit of a roll. Not quite as much as they'd hoped, but
I think we got a good shot. I think we have to get
Corbett faced with
Do we roll?
trying to play the hit and roll double or
Let him try it. What do you think?
hitting the rock in the back 8 foot.
Well, if we go here, they're gonna
Get out of the sand. Good job.
let's play nose or okay.
Nose is fine. Normal?
Yeah.
Like that, right?
Yeah, at least, yeah. I think it's
Brandon Corbett
Further normally.
lining up the nose.
I think let go of it sooner with the peels. I'm just holding on to it too long.
I hate when teams take forever to call easy shots. Normal?
Me too.
Literally like we're doing right now. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm usually one of those. So.
But it's a draw to the 8 foot for the win, and like just put the damn broom down.
All right. Well, we could play the inbound.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
We got to talk about it, right?
Which part of the 8 foot should we hit? Clean.
Brandon Corbett letting his first stone go.
Whoa, whoa, clean up. Yep.
They are hitting with a little bit of a roll. Still mostly exposed on the back of the 4.
Oh boy.
Handshakes are coming out on sheet 3 with
I like nose a lot.
Team Burr
Thank boy.
coming out over on top of
Yeah, it's good. It makes roll
Jason
fun,
Smith and the
Right? But if we can get the nose,
former
that's pretty good.
NFL football players.
Those guys are pretty tall and wide and thick.
All attributes of a good curler.
Yeah. Low center, high center of gravity.
Clean. Close. Yep. Clean. Clean. Yep. Clean. Yep.
So
Whoa.
Riley Fenson successfully Tapping that rock off of the back of the 4, rolling over, exposed in the 8-foot.
Clear now.
Yeah, that stayed nice and straight.
Corbett brothers now looking
Real nice throw. Could have done anything.
looking to
with
see
that.
if they can
Yep.
line up the potential hit and roll double on the cross sheet. He's got to make
I mean,
I don't mind first.
contact with the
You want a little less
I
ice
can't
for
hear
firm?
Wade's calling.
inner portion of the rock in the 12-foot.
So
Get a
no,
strong
whatever you
roll
like.
But I think I like the double. I think a blank here is really good for us.
onto the rock in the back of the 8. A decent option is also rolling the rock underneath his
Guard.
although that does sit as a very makeable double. So I think the longer roll to be sitting 1-2 is going to be their preference.
Firm.
Close.
Close. Close. Whoa. Oh. Whoa. Oh.
Not quite getting the curl they wanted. They're going to be sticking that and rolling out to the off the sheet.
Well, I mean, I don't like. I think a blank's good. So I think it's this.
That's what I'm just seeing where we roll. How far? I think it's almost even.
Anywhere in paint.
Sorry.
But yeah, that
too.
yours
You
perfect.
threw it good. You threw it well.
Yep. So I like.
We also have concluded
I
the
like
game
normal.
on sheet 4, which
well,
was
roll, we get a steeper roll.
So it's 832.
I like control.
Dunham
That's
Clausen
steeper
and
roll. Just like this.
We can even roll to here then.
Put the
Dunham
broom down. I think I might need a little more. That's good.
I think I
winning that game fairly handily.
Okay, control weight, get a steep roll here. Just anywhere in the paint's good, but we want to kind of be like edge to edge with our own back there, maybe a little farther so the double rolls out. Yeah, exactly. That's really
upset at all when he lets me release.
here.
It's just and halfway down I thought it was closed.
he rolls out here, I guess. Do we try to blink or do we want to take one anyway?
No, we freeze.
Freeze, right?
Take a play out of shoot juice.
So removing the
I don't think he's gonna roll out.
the only yellow rock
Whoa!
with the potential of
Yeah! Whoa! Whoa!
rolling the shooter over for a guard, but I think it's going to roll too far. Yeah, that's going off the rings and out of play.
Yep, let's do it.
Can't throw it any better.
Might as well try the freeze, right? We're taking one anyway. Well, we might not, but I think it's the right thing to do. Getting to this end is good. You like it, guys?
Yeah, freeze. Yeah.
A lot of rotation. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, even that we almost grabbed again.
Well, so that's why I called on. I really thought we had.
90? Or 0, I mean? Still 0, right?
95, 99.
Over on sheet 2, Craig Nicko successfully drew for 1
Weight's close. 5-6.
Really narrow, Aaron.
against
go.
1
Really narrow, Aaron.
Ruinen rock. So after
line,
6,
Aaron.
Ruinen's got a
Hard line. Gotta go, Wade.
5-4
Getting better.
advantage.
Keep going. 3.
Is it going to get there?
This one is coming up short.
Hard, guys. Hard on the rings. Hard. Make him hit. Come on. Hard. Hard. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Get it off the red.
Not enough to
Did
get
I throw it
shot,
that late?
so
This is one I like throwing the out turn at.
this is
It's going normal.
Yeah, 4-2.
fairly straightforward hit. Try to
that's
roll
good, right?
to the roll to the other side of the rings and leave Corbett with a draw to the 4-foot to take a point.
Normal weight this time. Yeah.
They were saying that they were going to
Really
take
good about
one
that throw.
anyways, but if they would have,
Might be hitting a little slower. They said
they could have
90,
blanked the end probably.
That implies that
If
it's
Corbett would have had to successfully execute the double with
felt
Brandon's
really good about that throw, but was it under 0?
Yeah, I had a 405.
first rock. or rather Brandon's second rock as vice skip.
It's gonna cool off a little bit.
Whoa.
Well, Violette turns the broom around and
Clean. Yep.
getting the roll that he was looking for.
Yep. Go.
Very
roll
nice.
Roll it.
Hit and stick. Good, Luke.
So, importance of that shot
like
is
hitting.
that
Can we hit shot or not?
Corbett
Yeah, I think
Corbett playing a hit here.
I think that's about
Oh, let's
perfect.
draw that. It's okay.
It's dicey for him to
I was worried about
end up shot. If he noses that front, the red rock in the front four,
Yeah. On the four.
he still might get out counted
This way, towards the rock in the
if
back.
he doesn't roll to the
Same shot. Yeah.
to the center, getting out counted by that shot in the back 8 foot. So he's just playing the straight draw. Just threw something close to it. He should have a pretty good idea.
Feels good.
Better weight.
Feels good. Room's down. Clean.
Yep.
Line's
Weight's
good, guys.
close.
It's all you. Line's great. It's all you. Line's good.
I think we're
It's
close.
left
We're
in the
good.
hand of the sweepers.
Easy.
Hasn't quite cleared that front red rock to get to where he needs to be. Rolling full 4 though, and tying the game up. So I guess we've been fortunate to have a nail biter here in the feature game this morning.
Yeah, after 6,
back 8.
tied up.
Well, I mean,
2 ends to go.
I'll go for the blank, but otherwise, we'd rather give up a steal. I think, especially with the scoreboard, than just take one. No, I think the opposite. I think we throw a corner guard, go really hard. Ideally, kind of leave me.
So things hold up as they started out with Violette holding the hammer, but now we're just playing a 2-end game.
I had an 80.
Yeah, it's been a very entertaining game despite the technical difficulties.
And if he slips in, obviously, we go for the blank.
All right, well,
At least on that side. What?
Well, well, it ended well. Yeah. Not proud of that draw, but we'll take it.
Yeah, I forget we got time. Let's make 8 shots, boys. Yeah, let's make 8 shots.
I felt really good about my first throw. I think something got under the rock. I really do. Or I was just like a little soft.
It's fairly dirty out here, so.
But I didn't want to give you the same thing the second one, and I'd have you do the same thing and be upset. You know?
Well, I hope it's not fairly dirty out there. We only played one game.
There's several factors that can
2-3.
lead to that, but generally at this level, it's not stuff coming off of the
Equipment.
players' equipment. In leagues,
Line only.
but I wish that they would institute a rule that people have to replace their grippers at least annually. You see a lot of
Do you replace your grippers annually?
yes. Sometimes, like last time, mid-season last year, I bought 2 grippers because I knew I'd be playing a lot in the second half of the season.
Now that you got the weight right now.
I haven't gone to that second gripper yet, but I did notice that maybe the gripper that I bought, probably back in January or February, I guess it was January, has
Line's great.
already showing some signs of distress. But you see people out playing leagues and maybe they only play 1-2 nights and they're in the same gripper that they've had for 6-7 years. Those things, you can see the evidence of the rubber that they leave out on the ice.
Some of us rely on that as a competitive advantage.
And
Well played
if you,
step in front of a rock.
if you know how to play that right,
Just a hair more.
I guess it could work that way.
It's coming down a little.
It's 2-3.
No. 4.
Got to curl a mile.
5. 5, 6. 5. 6. Yeah, go ahead.
Aaron Carlson throwing his just with a little tick off the red corner guard, and
Put up my own point.
as you see, it's nestled in the front 8 foot.
I hate that it was heavy. Might be a little slow.
So you've done a bit of world traveling yourself recently, Chris. What's your experience like?
Well, a couple weeks ago I was in Munich for Oktoberfest, so it was pretty fun. My brother-in-law and I we went with our wives, so it was 4 of us without kids. First trip since we've all had kids like that. It was pretty fun. I guessed on the way over there. They serve beers. They call them Mosses in liter jugs.
Correct.
Steins, and our wives don't really drink, and so we went for 6 days, 5-6 days, and I thought we'd probably drink like 6 or 8 liters of beer. I think we were like 25 to 30.
2, 3.
Did you visit the grounds of Oktoberfest every day?
Twice. We did it twice. The first day we went on opening. It was really fun, but it was really busy. So then we ended up just leaving after. We were at a tent, and then we left and drank in Munich. They've got cool beer halls all over Munich.
Yeah, I was just the one trip that I
Take it back.
happened to be in Munich during Oktoberfest. I was just astounded by what they call a beer hall on the Oktoberfest grounds. Will often seat somewhere between 7 and 15,000 people, and there are several of these.
Yep. Yeah, we were commenting like that first day that we were there. It was so crowded, and each of those halls, like say there's 12 halls, they each hold 10,000 people, and there were still a billion people all over the place.
Yeah, it's astounding. The gardens outside the hall, and then the Frauleins running around with the liters of beer. It's quite a spectacle.
It's interesting. Each like the different beer halls have different styles, like different atmospheres. And when we went there the second day, it was less crowded, and we could go to 3 different beer halls. And we went to one of the ones that's like a partying beer hall, and that's where people jump up on the table, try to drink a liter of beer, and if you drink it too slow, they throw beer-soaked towels at you.
I was trying to visualize the serious beer hall.
It's not extraordinarily heavy.
Well, we went to one that was the traditional beer hall, which just had dancing and things, but it wasn't like people just drinking a lot and sitting on top of tables. They're more concerned about good food, the food. And
it appears as though they all have polka bands playing Elvis covers pretty much nonstop.
Yeah, well, one of them had a rock band, or it seemed more like a karaoke band or karaoke band, because they were playing like tunes that everybody would sing, all in American.
Mm-hmm.
And American in English.
American
English. That's different than Canadian English.
Something like this. Like the blank. So straight's fine.
Harstad's ripping the center guard.
All the passion. I had 98, Evan. Okay. What was the first one? A 402 or 3.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Clean.
Holding the line and successfully jamming it on the back, rocking the back of the 12. No great harm there. They were just looking for a clean rip, or perhaps a rip double.
Replaced it almost identically.
That's pretty hard to do. Yep. Where did this curl to on Evans? Are we guarding that? What do you want it? Tight guard? Okay. Yeah.
Looks like Sinnott has knotted the game up against Bradendage over on sheet 1.
Line's great.
2-3.
Scoring 2 in the 6th end.
Just here, guys. Just here.
They're tied up 5 to 5.
Deeper, please.
We're close. 3. We're all there.
Line's good.
How tight?
Sweep, Evan. Not in, guys. It's not bad.
No worries.
Just I don't like them hitting in the house.
Only about a foot difference.
Yeah, it's no good at all. It's got to be higher.
I think it's half a rock.
You're just about right here.
So I think,
mean,
didn't
if
Violet
you just
say that it
make
would be
this,
okay to
that
give
can
up
take care of
one?
itself.
Or let
In
them
this
still-
end?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit it either way.
It is okay to give up
it
one
doesn't-
in exchange for having the
Yeah.
hammer in the extra end. I've seen people purposely do that.
Clean.
Like if
Whoa.
yeah, I would think.
Last rock advantage is so huge
Whoa.
at this
Yep.
level of play
Yep.
that
Yep. Go.
giving up one is almost desirable unless you can score a deuce. Scoring one here is certainly going to put the momentum in the favor of the Corbett rink.
We had it.
It just curled. Just curled.
Can't believe it.
And Corbett looking for
You
the
mean forcing one would put momentum?
Just missed the back one.
if
Normal. Make the roll. We make it up.
if Violette only scores one this end,
Right.
which Corbett is looking for the force here,
Right.
it will put him in advantage playing the eighth end with the hammer and just needing to score a deuce for the win.
Really good. 9-3.
Normal. Swing.
Playing a normal weight hit on this. They would like to roll back to the center if they can.
Oh, too much.
A little more roll than they were looking for. I think it's going to stay on the rings. Making
Well, if we make one of them, right, then, yeah. I mean, I think we just try to make, it's either that or this freeze is no good. So we either play this free. I think you just make this double, and then if he hits and sticks, you have this double.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what
easy as that. The
Yep.
thin double and then a little bit
Or you want more?
Yeah.
wider double.
That's fine.
Follow up with
Feel
that.
right?
Yeah, whatever you want, but yeah.
We're definitely not
Gotta
in
stick the shooter, though.
league play Kansas anymore.
Just make this double. Holy shit. I just almost died right there.
Oh, wow.
So Riley's going to try to click the narrow double.
Whoa!
No sweeping.
No, he might have set that just a bit and gone by the whole mess. Looks like those bigger weight hits are really staying straight, and
Yep. That's the second one that's kind of blown by.
yeah, I'm not sure if he maybe set it a little bit, but
Kind of a different situation.
Wasn't as bad as
Corbett's
we
got
thought. And the big thing, right, is even
a
if
few
you
different
find bad,
possibilities.
right side
Again,
to side of the
they're not looking to steal a single stone in the slightest.
Can we play this side?
Yeah,
So
Mike.
they're gonna put the rock out in the open.
Unless he leaves. Well, if he leaves, I mean, even if I make a triple, though,
And
I roll
and
double,
continue
then
to
Just play now. Just look.
but like
try to force
Do we want it in or not?
Luke to take one here.
Okay, top,
so if he does
top,
that,
top 12.
I feel like
And at some point, Luke's going to have to consider trying to throw underneath his corner guard
Close.
and
3-4.
he could leave
and
it.
go for the deuce.
Yeah, try to figure out two.
Yep. 2, 3.
I missed the time.
This probably goes to the best laid plans part.
Not team. No. Jeez.
It's a little deep.
He is. The sweepers are a bit disappointed in their read on that rock, but yes, he's back in the back eight.
I mean, I have this.
You do.
And then if he's that, it's just this is real tough, right?
It's up to you. Whatever you like.
It's either that or I come here.
Yeah. Or even here.
I had a,
True. I mean, I can make this to where he
I
can't.
think that's where he can't even get here.
It's either that or it's. I definitely have. I have a triple, and if I stick it here, he sticks it, and then I have the blank.
Okay, well, if you like that, yeah.
It's either that or this right here.
I like calling for having the triple. I think that's
You
great.
Side, so if you just
Yep.
Well, it's interesting to
Yep, exactly.
see that he still has the notion of being
kinda
able
what
to
I'm
blank
feeling.
this
Yeah,
end
I don't mind the
Yeah.
If you like
Just
the
about
way
what
it's
turn.
with 4
though,
rocks
is
in
the
play.
problem.
It's got to be the in, right?
No, because he got here with the out. The in, we got to kind of get on a newer track, right?
I mean, did you see where he had room here?
No, but I don't think we want to follow him anyways.
Okay.
So Luke seems to be
it's a
ruling
little
out the notion of
Wanna
the
be on
freeze.
other side of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
maybe
Over
not.
there.
No.
Although
Okay,
right here.
and they swept it a good
the
amount,
setup
so, I mean,
would
I
be
probably wanna
that
throw that too,
if
I
he
think.
leaves it a little short of the freeze, that they can potentially jam him on the 2 yellow rocks that are out on the left wing.
But if he does a freeze, then what will they do? Come down on top of it, or
Well,
hit it out?
I
Or?
can't imagine them if he executes a perfect freeze. That is not removable, which is almost an impossible spot.
Yeah.
That
Line's a little
they would
tight.
try to
Line's good.
follow
good.
it.
Line's good. Take a look.
Here it comes. A
Little
lot
room.
of
Got
lot
it,
of
got it,
room.
Girl.
It
Got
can
it,
curl a
girl.
bunch. It's not,
A mile.
and it looks like it's just a little bit warm. It's going to come to the back of the 4 or the back of the 8. Yes, all the way back.
Okay, Luke.
In fact, backline plus.
So hot right now.
All right, let's not fall into that, okay?
Yeah. 4 or 5.
Yeah, so they're going to try to follow, do the same thing, but have
Well, I
it
think
work.
they'd like to stay
Yeah.
Definitely less.
Yep.
top
Go ahead.
4 here,
3,
where
4,
a
5, guys.
straight
boys.
hit would potentially
We're
score
close.
1.
Gotta go.
Again, yellow is not
there, boys.
interested in scoring 1 rock this end.
Just top 8.
Oh. Yep. Easy. No.
Attaboy.
Shot.
All right, boys.
Nailed it.
This is the hit of the draw for 1.
I think it's I think the draw is here.
I guess my greatest fear now is that Derek Corbett, if you a successful weekend here
If I
using
knows
my
this-
curling pants, might be
It's a shot for 2 back there,
might
right?
be leaving for New York in them.
Yeah.
I'm for
And it's
North
gotta be a
Carolina.
precise hit and roll,
I'm going to North Carolina on Monday, so if he does, I could
But the
pick it up. Well, I'm going to Raleigh. I don't know where he's going.
He's in Durham, I believe, but the triangle, everything's pretty close together out there.
Well,
411.
if he does, I'm going to be out there Monday through Wednesday, so I can retrieve him.
He seems like a
I know
decent
we're kinda
gentleman,
aware
and
of that. We're kinda thinking
he
about
would
it. It's real
he would
tough
leave
to
them
get
with
on the draw.
the manager, if
I
nothing
know
else.
everybody's gonna go on the tee, right? Yeah, I know. I mean, how are you feeling with this track?
Corbett brothers' mother and grandmother just happened to be sitting adjacent to
I had him thinking for a while.
to me as I broadcast this
go
game.
out.
Okay.
They're just thanking me for
Control.
Control.
dropping my pants for Derek.
Yeah.
And you said, no problem. Do it all the time. No.
Forgot this is a family show.
So they're going to go for the hit?
It's a little high.
I'm thinking the double. If they hit and stick and don't get the double, they do force yellow to the steal of 1,
Yeah.
Yep.
which is
Not bad.
Yeah.
which is good.
It's going to curl.
I
Oh,
think
it's a little light.
that's what they're looking to do, but this rock
Hard.
might roll to a bad spot.
Mm.
Very bad spot.
Steal of 4.
That is a steal of 4. Tough chance there. Rock just over curled, and
It was a really good opportunity.
yeah, I mean the shot call was absolutely right in trying to force yellow to one. Going to make a tough end here for Luke and the boys. Down 4 with the hammer. After those first 5 rocks are played, I would imagine that the Corbett boys are going to be clearing things out.
Oh, don't. I'll clean with that. I'll clean. Anyway. I know. I'll go with this.
Over on sheet 6, Dominic Merkey looks to be in pretty decent control, up 3 without. Brundage playing the 8th end, down 1 with. 7th end, Richie and Persinger hung 2 to take a 7-4 advantage. Craig Nico playing with the hammer, down 3. And with all the support girders, I am unable to really see what's going down with the women's game on sheet 7.
6-3, yellow.
As far as it goes, probably just Rye. Rye, go, go.
Red being Potter.
Right into the house, yep.
Right.
Who has hammer? Board. Might as well. If we don't, we wouldn't be able to hit, right?
So, we've got a nice corner guard put up by Graham Fenson. And
Board plus!
Just a tick shot.
I think it's our first called tick.
Gotta go.
Yep, and he's going to catch it pretty full. That rock's curling a bunch, and it looks like that's probably headed out of play. Little hot, little full.
Well, I hope that shot worked out. There's a lot of yelling over there.
It was Evan working, coaxing his sweepers to pull that rock underneath cover in the front of the 8-foot. So Brundage needing to score 2 here is sitting 1-2 with his first shot on the back of the 4, second shot front 8.
Got a curl.
Two red rocks of Sinnott on either side of the house on the 12-foot.
We still can't hit though. Fast.
Another very nice corner put up.
Okay. Good.
So Graham Fenson doing his job and
I figured the weight's all there.
putting up 2 effective corners.
Close. Weight's good.
Easy, whoa.
Weight's good.
I don't know why they're throwing the board weighter that way.
It's probably too hot.
This is another attempted tick.
All right.
This one
Too hot. Too
missing
much.
everything.
All right, let's get
So
it.
Violet's
It was really hot. It was
gonna throw a guard underneath the tighter corner guard.
Yep.
Lots of ground to make up.
Yeah, it's a big mountain to climb.
Not that I haven't seen it done before.
Line's good.
Back 8.
That's fine. A little tight. Yeah, if you can. Yep.
My
Whoa.
first match in Copenhagen a couple weeks ago, I found
Line's
myself
good.
in this position and managed to tie the game.
14-5. Whoa.
And under the European Bonspiel style
That's
of
good.
play,
Great spot.
ties are not played off. So we were feeling very fortunate to to tie that game.
How do they figure that out for like seeding then if you have ties? Like
Unlike curling over here, no game is ended early. You keep trying to score. You keep trying to score as many points and in as many ends as possible, and that is used as a tiebreaker. Ultimately, a tie is going to be worth 1 point, a win worth 2, and a loss, of course, worth 0. So when it comes down to the end and they're seeding the finals, they take the top 2 point-scoring teams, and if there is a tie in point scoring between a second and third place, for instance, then they would revert to a counting up the points of tallied points throughout the tournament and tallied and scored. Those are the tiebreakers. So there's no I'm down by 10, let's shake in the European game.
is that because they're more violent than we are, more aggressive?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's an interesting style to play. I'd never been involved with it. I talked to people who had played in Europe, and this year I had the opportunity to go play that style in Edinburgh, and then just last month in Copenhagen. And it's fun to go as I call it being a curlist, a curling tourist.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to see the place as much as you're going to do the curling. That way you're never disappointed. We were fortunate enough to actually do the curling fairly well, and we ended up in the finals of the Gentoft Cup in Copenhagen, one of the 3 clubs there. We did also end up playing against the team that won the senior men's bronze from Denmark. His name escaping me for a moment. I believe it's Ulrich Schmidt. Yeah. Ulrich Schmidt squad defeated our curlists in the final fairly handily.
Who did you travel with? Was it
some club curlers from here in St. Paul? Regulars on the curlist tour are Dr. John Miller and Dave Smead, and they brought myself and a rookie to the European experience, Steve Day, who is best known here at the St. Paul Club as New Guy. Although he's played for 10 years, he still gets to carry that moniker.
Little room. I just thought you thought it was
So Luke's got a couple rocks in the rings. There is one yellow rock guarding close to the center line.
Hard all the way. Gotta get it in. Come on.
It's throwing up just a wee bit short. Possible usable guard. But it looks like Corbett would try to potentially tear both those off or go for the double in the back. He's close to running them out of rocks if he can execute the double here. Those rocks are fairly evenly stacked, making a cross-house double a very tough shot here. Does have the potential of rolling underneath and shrinking the house a bit. But if he hits one of these, it looks like Violette is going to have to make the rest of his stones count.
Normal. Clean. Whoa. Clean. Whoa. 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 Sweep. Sweep.
Now he's sweeping for line. Looks like
Sweep.
could be close.
No roll. Shot, Brandon.
Rolls a rock underneath. Violette giving him something to come down and use as backing. See a couple potential scenarios where if things worked out right,
Line's good.
that they will be able to at least throw their last rock.
Line's great. Line's real good.
Yeah, I could see people wanting to just get rid of that rock, but then you have nothing. You
14-3.
need 5 or 4.
Nope. Takeouts are every rock in play right now is to the advantage of the team trying to score a lot of points.
Did you guys have any
Hit the outside one? What? Hit the outside one?
heavy political conversations over there? I know that when Dr. John and Eric Ordway travel together, they argue politics.
They are probably a bit further apart politically than Dr. John and myself. Certainly, it didn't come up much in terms of the European competition we played. We kept the subject pretty close to curling and sightseeing in Copenhagen
And then we can definitely throw heat at it.
versus any talk of politics.
In those tournaments, do you have time? Like, it seems like you're in the club a lot. Like, do you have time, or do you must make time? You're like, oh, you know, like we're here, you might have a Spiel. You might go home and take a quick nap. There, you're probably like, well, let's go out and check out.
There were typically 4 draws a game, and you would play every other draw. So you had, you know, a couple 3 hours of downtime from the conclusion of your game until your next one is played. And we were in an Airbnb right in the central part of the city, and the Gentoft Club is out a bit. So we did not.
Yeah, we gotta get it out.
We didn't go back to the room to our Airbnb. We would typically stay at least within the proximity of the club. But we used public transportation the whole time, taking the train from the center of the city out to the curling club. And boy, there's a lot of bicycles over there.
Munich, we except for the first day or the first night when I got everybody to walk like 5 miles to a restaurant, we figured out the trains, and the trains and buses were incredible. You get everywhere.
Yeah, we found that to be the case in Copenhagen as well.
John! John!
So,
Go, John,
Violette
go!
throwing his first stone, needs to remove that yellow rock from the rings, and or at least
What do they have? Do we hit?
Just heavy? No.
It can't hurt us, right?
Just dead straight.
I don't know if we have to though, Brandon. Okay.
there's scarcely a scenario that they can pull this off.
Yeah, they have to somehow.
Can I have firm? Tighten me
this,
up.
if this rock goes away, it's game over.
Yeah. If it doesn't, though, you got to get that guard in. That's.
Well, you
I
have
guess
to
you'd split it to the left.
You have to get the guard and the shooter to full 8.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one to draw up. So Derek's got it lined up with the hit and
Shot. I kind of want to throw it.
ball game.
Back again. Good game.
Good game, boys.
All right, we got handshakes.
Except for one rock that didn't track very well for Violette in the 7th end. That was a fun, well-played match.
This is too,
Yeah,
this is
I
too
scored it wrong on my score streamer.
So you put X's in the 8th end as the last rock was not played, and we'll call that a final score of 9-5. Corbett over Violette.
So we have one game left, right? on sheet 6.
One game with a.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm trying to see an outcome where red could score 3. It is.
He's got it.
It's a bit of a circus call
Yeah, it's changed.
because yellow is sitting shot and third rock,
Yeah, it is.
with red second and fourth, and red needing to score 3.
No, way to go.
Well, if anybody can do it.
It's not me.
It's not me. All right, that's handshakes.
Merky coming out on top over the
Stapera rink.
rink with Lazar playing the last rocks.
All right, well, thanks, Bob, for doing this.
Thank you.
Fun.
Always
It was
enjoyable. Start up another curling season.
Yep.
Talk about some curling, watch some curling, and
Our next draw is going to be at 4 Central, 5 Eastern, and it's going to be a women's draw, Rhyme versus McMakin. So we'll see everybody there. Hopefully we'll have a few less technical glitches. And, yeah, so chill out, everybody, and we'll see you at 4.
thanks to everybody. Thanks to the St. Paul Curling Club. Thanks to the Lupus Research Foundation, and signing off.